Welcome to Community. I'm your host, Cody Thompson, and I'm so excited to be here today with my special guest, Elissa Curry from Carers WA. Elissa, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, it's great to have you here. I'm so excited to chat to you. You can add a lot today in our conversation, both personally and professionally, which is great. Tell our audience a little bit about you and your connection to the disability sector.
So in 2003, my first daughter was born with a rare condition called sacroiligenesis. No short name, sorry.
Yeah.
Sacroiligenesis, and it just means that she's missing a lot of the sacral area, if not all of the sacral area of her spine. Yeah. And it's not the bones that are missing, it's the effect on the spinal cord.
Wow.
So a lot of the problems that are presented are similar to spina bifida.
Okay.
So it's a neurotube, but they're not the same condition. Baptism of fire started from there. My background was in children's services, and I was lucky enough to have already worked with children with additional needs. So I had some level of experience, but 24/7 with a rare condition was definitely a whole new experience. I've gone on to from there. I was out of the workforce for 20 years caring, and then when I re-entered, the first place I looked was Carers WA because they had supported me, and I went and did some retraining, went back into, and I'm now the Community Engagement Officer at Carers WA.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I mean, that's a lot, and I really appreciate you sharing. For any parent, myself, I've got 3 kids. It's daunting, especially the first time, but throw in, challenges like that, and such a rare condition as well.
It is, yeah. We actually had 4 babies in under 4.5 years.
Wow.
So it was very busy. The appointments were incredibly intense. And I've come out of the other side of it alive and happy.
Absolutely.
I hope I've got some things to share with the parents that are still in the hard yards of that care, because it can be really tough.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing, right? Like you said, you work on the other side of the fence now, like you're at Carers WA, and we'll talk about the amazing work that you guys do, but you've been in the trenches, you've felt it, you've seen it. And I feel like we have come a long way probably since, 20 years ago. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but you've seen both sides, which is great.
I have, and I've seen the development of the NDIS. At the end of the day, we were in the first rollout. We weren't in the trial, but we were in the first rollout of receiving NDIS packages. So I've seen some of the changes over the years, not as up to date recently, because Willow has, my daughter has actually taken over a lot of that side. She's now 22, and she manages a lot of her NDIS. She still throws me the odd question. Can't always answer it because I'm a little bit out of it, and there's been changes. I've become very good at also knowing where to go to find that information, because you can't know everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I became a very good information seeker and seek and find.
Absolutely. And I think even when you work in the industry, there is a perception that you know a lot, but it is so ever changing.
It is.
There's so much going on.
Absolutely.
I'll just touch on Willow quickly, only because I think it was such an amazing story. Like we talk about a lot of the NDIs. Like at the end of the day, I think people forget sometimes it's building capacity, getting people out, being able to do what they need to do and live their life.
Absolutely.
I am, you telling me a bit before off camera, but Willow's now in her low 20s. Like for any parent, she's at uni. I think you said a master's degree,
she's
kicking ass.
She's just going back to her master's degree. She had a little gap of 6 months, which was fair. She'd been at study for a very long period of time. That's her passion, is architecture. She's doing so well. The disability, we raised her to just find a way. We never ever, she didn't actually realise she had a disability. The word disability wasn't used in our house until I think a social worker told her at 10 years old that she had a disability. And that was actually interesting, because they told her she may not be able to work. And so I spent 3 hours in the car with her returning from PMH, going through every position that she might be able to hold when she was older, every career that she might be able to look at. And she landed then herself naturally with her skills and passions on architecture. She loves science.
She aimed for the top of that
loves
list.
Maths,
I love it.
And she loved drawing, so it kind of all fit. She's a bit loath to be the representative for disability access and so forth within the architecture field, because I think she gets frustrated that it should be just a natural thing that is considered. So she doesn't want to be constantly referred to and have to speak. But she's embraced that a little bit as she's got older, and definitely done some public speaking and so forth around that whole field of accessibility in architecture.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think, again, my kids are a lot younger, so I think in a nice way, the idea of them going to university and kicking ass that way is incredibly humbling and would make you very proud as a parent. But for that journey, that's amazing.
Glowing, yeah. All three kids are just amazing, and they're all so unique in their own way. And Willow's definitely faced more challenges than most. Over her period of getting into uni, I believe year 10 and 11, I think over that period she had about 3 operations, and she would be awake from the anaesthetic, have her food and her drink, and straight back into Connect for school, and was back at it. So she's shown far more resilience than I ever had, and as a parent I often have to ask her to back off and take care of her health. And, as a parent, I'm like, actually chill out. At the end of the day, HR is not the be all and end all. And, have those conversations with her that it's a very short period of life and there are lots of pathways that we can take.
Absolutely. And I think, again, a glowing endorsement for exactly that, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned as well, you said a phrase there, but she found a way, or you find a way. And I think that's just so... It's just so important for everybody, all of our listeners, regardless of their audience, regardless of their condition or challenge or situation right now. Sometimes you really do just have to grind it out. And in Willow's case, at a much more, extreme level than many of us will ever face.
Yeah, people with disabilities definitely face more challenges in the world, but there's that whole conversation. So Willow did an assignment for architecture in her 3rd year, and I think a lot of the lecturers and students found it very hard to wrap their head around, but her premise right from the start was that she would create a completely accessible city, completely in every way, shape or form, and it was actually designed for disabled people, but able people had to fit in.
Love that.
So instantly made people's disabilities less stressful and more able. People are not so disabled when that accessibility and that consideration is there. Their disabilities actually don't become a factor at all when they can actually negotiate their way through and get into buildings and actually do their thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Absolutely. I love that project. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that was one of her little projects, and that comes back to that factor of just trying, and just trying becomes a lot easier when your world's been built for you to be able to do that.
Yeah, totally.
She was definitely raised to just give it a go, and if it worked, it worked, and if it didn't, then I can only think of a handful of times where we just couldn't make a way to make it work. But all the way through, so she's got a license, she's got a normal automatic license. We've just found ways to actually modify her surroundings so that she is able to actually do it.
Yeah, kick ass. I'm going to say it. Yeah. No, that's what she does by the sounds of things.
She's definitely kicking life goals for sure. She's just been travelling on her own. So she went through Europe, travelling on her own, booked wheelchairs, for example, didn't take the wheelchair but because she's ambulant between, so she would book the wheelchair at the Louvre, for example, and use the wheelchair while she was there, and those kind of things. So, she doesn't let any barriers get in her way if she can. But,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Now, at the start, you mentioned you guys were a part of the initial NDIS rollout.
We were.
And we won't deep dive all of this, but I think it's a big topic.
It is.
But you must have seen it evolve over time. And again, you're seeing it firstly from firsthand as a parent, being a part of that rollout and the support it was able to provide. And then over time, as Willow's gotten older, but also now you've transitioned into actually working in the industry.
Yes.
What are some of the I guess, big changes that you've seen, and where does it sort of land with you right now?
I don't know if my opinions will be popular, but I believe in the theory of NDIS. I think it was a very, very progressive thing for a first world country.
Absolutely.
To consider that each person that lives here should have their own tailored supports. So for us as a family, the day before we didn't have a package, and then the day after we had a package, saved our family budget about 10 to 15,000, because at the end of the day, in the traditional supports that were being provided, Willow's, a lot of the costs that were involved were not being covered. So for us, it was a game changer. But I do remember I think it was about 2 months after we received our package, having a conversation with a couple of friends along the way. And I was shocked at how much she had received in the package.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. It was very generous rollout of NDIS in that first rollout.
Yep.
And I remember saying to a few friends then, I don't know from an objective point of view. I'm glad for Willow and I'm glad for us, but I don't know if this is sustainable.
Yep.
Considering how I considered then, I don't know if the government did, but I considered how many people would be, availing themselves of the NDIS supports. So I think the one thing I noticed very quickly was the rise in service provider costs.
Yep.
So that was considerable. So things that had been a really reasonable hourly rate before NDIS, within the year or two after she had a package, those costs had risen 3, potentially 4 times
it was a bit
over.
Yeah.
So I think the horse bolted on the service provider capping of costs, and I think that was where, in my personal opinion, where NDIS has gone wrong. It's not that people are overclaiming and people are just asking for the supports they need. So I don't know from my point of view whether that's the focus. And I think the focus for the real backs and change is definitely needed to focus on the service provider costs and making sure that they are kept in check. And there were definitely instances for us where there were withdrawals from the porthole that were probably not appropriate, and I had to follow up and fix. And I do think also the lack of service coordinators, or whatever their title might be, that it's changed along the way. But at first we had a service coordinator, or LAC, to actually help us through the process. And along the way that got taken away. It got swapped for the plan managers, which was more a budgeting thing. Luckily, I felt comfortable at that stage to keep negotiating it on my own, but I know that a lot of families would have felt that struggle of trying to navigate the system on their own.
Yep.
And interestingly, Willow's taken it over, and she took it over at about the age of 18. She tried to have a review done to get we tried to, in the lead up, to get another one back on board for her, so that she didn't have to. She had some supports and another person to ring that was in the system, that as most people know, it's just kept, that review has kept the date has and the timeline has kept going back and back, and now I fear, like most parents, that if it's reviewed, that she may lose some of her supports. So it's a
delicate.
Devil, you know which one's better to keep a great package rolling over, but not have that. But so I think a lot of parents, I think that's one of the challenges is they're scared of reviews, or when reviews are needed, they're not quick enough. So
well, you touched on a few things there. I think firstly, and unfortunately, but it feels like, you mentioned there about provider costs going up, but it almost feels like the wedding tax. Like, you say you're having a party versus you're having a wedding. Changes everything.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah,
it really, really is exactly that. You should be getting the flowers at $80, but because it's a wedding, those flowers are now $500.
Correct, and that's had such an impact on, I think, the scheme, right? And as a result, like we're seeing this now, but there's so much, like, I think, public negativity towards the scheme. But
there is.
You mentioned it at the top, like I still genuinely believe it is world class.
Yes,
it is leading the space across any other country at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And is it a perfect system? No.
No.
But it was rolled out and designed to help people. And at its core, it's still doing that.
And I think it's a great thing, but it has definitely raised the bar. It's raised expectations. Yep. So we expect a certain level of help and support now in that. And so we should, but at the same time, we have to understand that to some extent it is a privilege still. And, as you said, in other countries, that the out-of-pocket expenses would be far higher.
Hey guys, a quick message from our sponsors, SN Training. Are you looking for complex care training that you can trust? SN Training are nurse-owned and nurse-led, delivering both accredited training and non-accredited training with a focus in the NDIS high-intensity supports. Compassion is at the forefront of everything they do. They deliver evidence-based, practical education led by experienced nurses who role model best practice and inspire confidence when it comes to high-quality support. With human-centered practice at the heart of everything that they do, you'll not only learn, but you'll learn the right way. SN Training is where expertise meets care and your learning makes a difference. We're so excited to be working with SN Training. They share the same passion that we have for shining the light on positivity in the NDIS sector and for people living with a disability, and we can't wait to keep working with them. Now back to the episode. And I think that's what you see when you travel and you just sort of hear stories from people. It's such a different lifestyle over there. Can we talk about, you do some amazing work now at Carers WA, and I say you, and it's not just you. It's there's a whole team there that do
there's a few more people than just me.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, you can be the face of it today. But tell us a bit about Carers WA. And I know there are organisations just like Carers WA for our national audience all over Australia, but let's focus on Carers WA.
So, I'll go back to that. At the end of the day, that national service is Carers Gateway, and we have the contract in WA for Carers Gateway. So, Carers WA rolls out all the gateway services, but then we also have some programs and services for supports for carers. Lots and lots and lots of people mistake us for a service provider, as in, we provide home supports and so forth under NDIS or My Aged Care. Clarify that 100% right now. We are one of the only organisations that cares for the carer. So what we do is care for those unpaid ongoing carers that are caring for a family member or a friend. And if they're caring due to disability, frail age, mental health issues, chronic illness, terminal illness, or I think I've covered it all. I might have missed one, but and so in this space, definitely those carers that are unpaid and doing the hard yards, and that care can look very different, and they also don't need to live with the care recipient. So that's also really important. And that's what we do. We actually care for the carers and provide programs and help and support for them. And if you haven't heard of us, I can almost guarantee you'll be eligible if you're over the age of 8.
Okay.
So the eligibility is amazing as well from a carer's point of view.
Yep.
I obviously signed up to Carers WA. I was caring for 3 people at the time, and it was becoming very overwhelming. So I reached out to Carers WA, and they provided help and support for me. And eligibility-wise, so important. We don't require you to provide us with the diagnosis. So that's not another hurdle that you need to jump to get support for yourself. As I said, we support anyone over the age of 8 that's caring in nationally in
Yep.
Gateway, but also, WA. It's not means tested. So, and we also don't consider payments such as carers payment and allowance. They're not payments to us. So that's not an income.
Yep.
And our services are over and above. So many people tell me, I'm not eligible because I get carers payment, and that's not true. So they're eligible for our services. So it is for anyone that's caring, and we're just a needs-based service. So when people call up, we talk to that carer and we have a planning session for them for 45 minutes.
Yep.
And through that planning session, the idea is to find out all about the carer, not their caring role, but everything that's working and not working within their and then we basically look at what we can provide for them that matches who they are. So it's tailored as much as we possibly can.
I love that. It's not, in a nice way, just one program and trying to make people fit into that program.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the whole idea, is that we, treat our carers, because we all come from different backgrounds. That the only thing we have in common is that we're caring most of the time.
Yep.
So for me, they helped me with supports, and by the time I rang, I think I was crying for 10 minutes. So we looked. They provided some counselling. They provided some respite support. They provided some six weeks cleaning to get me over a really difficult hospital period where my brother was in hospital. And they provided some truck driving lessons.
Cool. Okay.
Because that was a way for me to potentially go back to work with managing my caring role.
Yeah,
and I also went into the employment program that we run. So, the staff member that runs that program had a pretty big case on her hands to fill a 20-year gap.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she did. She helped me rewrite my resume using all my caring skills over 20 years rewrite them into employable skills.
How fantastic! Like to hear those sorts of things. I know this is your personal story, but
it is.
There is countless stories, I'm sure,
there
like that.
Absolutely is.
Yeah,
and there's so many other supports. I'm only talking about the ones that I utilise, but there's so many other programs and services that our carers can access to get that help and support. So many of us don't have that family structure around us anymore that's able to, step in and help us out. And that's where Carers WA can come in. They can be that help and support. We have social supports, and as I mentioned, counselling. We have carers coaches that can help coach them through, their own goals. But that core of our organisation always comes back to we're trying to support the carer, and that's a bit foreign to many of our carers.
I can imagine, yeah. Well,
they've learned to prioritise.
Yeah,
exactly. They've learned to prioritise someone else for often very long periods of time. So we obviously have a few layers to break down sometimes, and actually, get to the heart of the fact that our services are for them.
Yeah,
they're always asking for the person they're caring for and that they love.
Yeah.
But we're always trying to take it back to them and what we can provide for them.
Yeah. And when should they reach out? Like, again, there's these great services available, but I'm sure you would speak to people that probably have either not left it too late, but wish they could have called sooner and done something. So, do you have a way to encourage people to do it sooner?
Look, I would say that they should call it any time they feel like they need help and support.
Love it.
But yeah, absolutely. Would Carers WA love to have heard from me before I was caring for 3 people and completely burnt out? I think so, because what that allows us to do is provide help and support that helps with resilience. It helps with preventing burnout. So we can, do early intervention with our carers, particularly our young carers. So that's really important as well. We have 1 in 6 of our young people in WA is caring.
Yeah, wow.
So under the age of 25, I should add.
Yep.
So we have that 8 to 25-year-old bracket that we have a young carers program for, and that care can look a little bit different to an adult caring. Maybe they're stepping into a parent's role. Maybe they are caring for a parent or a grandparent or whatever it might be. But yeah, the outcomes, if we can get involved early, much better for our young carers.
I love that.
We, really focus on helping them stay at school and study.
What a big thing to be balancing school and caring. Like there's a lot there.
There's a lot. If you can imagine it as an adult, and then times that by making sure you're getting to school and the pressures of school and all the things that come with it. It's an absolutely tough gig, and the more sort of support they can receive early, the better.
Yeah, definitely. Now, is there like a small step or a suggestion that you can give? Like, again, I'm sure a lot of our audience will be in some way, shape or form connected to, or potentially themselves a carer for somebody. Like, what's one way to either get them started or get them on the right track to make sure that they avoid, we hear a lot about carer fatigue and people that, like you said, are too busy taking care of somebody else, they forget about themselves.
Look, there's so many steps that they could take, and connecting with Carers WA would be the very first step. We've got lots of help and resources in Carers Gateway that can help you step through those processes, and maybe it's multiple things. But from my lived experience, the one thing I would recommend that people do as a carer is find the one thing that helps their brain switch off. And that sounds crazy, but many people presume that needs to be mindfulness or yoga or meditation, and it's not that for so many people, but they do, if they can, the earlier they can find that thing that actually mentally allows them to switch off for at least 10 minutes, their caring role it's easier to care if you've got that space for you and that thing that you enjoy and allows you not to think too hard about what else is going on in life. So as I mentioned, traditional ones didn't work for me. Tried them so many times that it was ridiculous and disrupted so many yoga classes you can't even imagine. Very disruptive. So for me, I enjoy up shopping and I enjoy axe throwing, and I absolutely love live music, particularly metal music. The more they're peeling my face off and making my ears bleed, I can't think about all the other stuff, the swelling stuff. So I love music.
Yeah, but that's so cool. I think that's, it's great advice for anyone, not just a carer, but I think just in general, like for people to have their moments of time where they can reset and pause. And, as a young dad, as a business owner, like I said, I can relate to that story, but absolutely as a carer, I think it's tenfold. But just taking that moment to go, okay, you know what, for the next couple of hours, I've got so much going on. I just need to take 5-10 minutes here for me. Switch off. And
the world will not stop.
Correct.
And it will not change, and things will be just fine. And we think they're not going to be, but about 9 times out of 10, there's no impact to you having 10 minutes out of your day. That's something just for you. So, more if you can.
Definitely.
More than 10 minutes if you can. At least find that thing that is just helps your brain switch off.
Great advice.
So many of our carers have health problems, and many of those come back to stress, like they're often autoimmune kind of issues or, things that crop up from the stress. That's why I really focus down on that, is that thing that will switch your brain off for a little while so that the stress is relieved. Yeah.
So now we're going to move into the Sharp 7 segment. So I'm going to fire a couple of questions at you.
Nervous?
No,
Not very good at keeping it short, so we'll do our best.
Well, the first one is a one-word answer. So you have to keep that one short for me, and then after that we can fly through it. So first question is, what's one word that describes the state of the NDIS today?
Difficult.
I think a lot of people would resonate with that. Yeah, I totally agree. All right. What's the biggest challenge that you see right now in the sector?
In the disability sector? I think the fact that NDIS is so difficult, and I think the rollback of services when you've had a certain expectation is very difficult.
Yep, absolutely. What's the most rewarding part of your job?
Oh, this is so easy. Speaking to carers and letting them know that our services are just for them, and the tears.
Yeah, I can imagine there would be a lot, but like you said, it would be rewarding tears, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're rewarding tears. They're happy tears.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. What's the best advice you've ever received as a parent?
Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's probably been mentioned so many times, but that is because every parent that's ever got through says the same, feels the same.
Absolutely.
Don't sweat the small stuff. It does not matter if socks are matched.
I like that. What's the best advice that you can give to a carer that's listening to us today?
Reach out for help and support, even if that's within your social circles. Let people know that your gig is tough.
Yep.
And let them help and guide them as to how to help you, but also know that, as I said, Carers Gateway is there for them, and they can call through to get that help. Through us as well.
Big time. I think it is so important just to, a nice way sort of put your hand up and say, I need to have a chat, I need to have a talk. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This may be somewhat of the same answer here, but I want to know, like, is there one resource or an organisation or a website that maybe not so much now at Carers WA, but certainly when you were on the caregiving side and you're doing, is there one resource that you can recommend that was really useful to you?
Look, I'm actually going to give you one that I've discovered working.
Yeah, cool.
And wish I knew. I'm not sure if you heard of it, but there's a disability gateway as well.
Okay.
So it's actually a service that you can contact. And for example, I think it's easier done as an example. So if I had wanted a new OT for Willow, I can actually contact Disability Gateway. It's a government funded service, and I can say that I need a new OT. It needs to be female. We only have Wednesdays for that appointment in the afternoons, and it needs to be within 10 kilometres of Pinjarra.
Yep.
And what they will do is they can't recommend, but they will narrow it down to 3 providers that fit that criteria as best they can, if there's 3 providers.
Obviously, yep.
But even if that service is not available, they've done the groundwork. They've done the hard work for you, rather than you constantly trawling through Google or whatever it might be to try to find that OT. They do physio, all of the services that you might need within the disability sector, and they can actually do your work that you for you. They make sure that obviously all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, so they make sure they've got all their accreditation, all the governmental stamps, all the important stuff. You just have to give them boundaries. It's a little bit like AI. What you feed, Disability Gateway, what you put in, absolutely. So I would wish I'd known about Disability Gateway.
No, great resource.
It would have saved me quite a bit of time on a number of occasions.
Perfect. And then my last one for the Sharp 7 is, I like to finish with this one, but how do you define community?
Ooh, why am I finding this the toughest question? Community is the people that you choose to have surrounding you.
I like that. Yeah.
So I would say that, it's definitely a choice about who you surround yourself with. And as I've got older, I've known that more and more is to, your time is so valuable. So make sure you surround yourself with good people and light lifters and all of those people that make you feel more positive about the world.
Absolutely.
So find those communities, whatever that might be, and supportive and empathetic. I'll add to that, not just positive all the time, but supportive and empathetic. So that might be one of our carers groups that knows.
Good segue.
You surround yourself. But community can mean a lot of things. But for me, it's the people you choose to have around you.
Totally agree. Awesome. Well, we talked about a range of topics today. I really appreciate you've been very open book, which I love, and we've covered both sides of both, I guess, a personal and a professional perspective. So thank you. Do you have a sort of leaving message for our audience today? Like the mic is yours. There's going to be carers watching. There's going to be people that don't know their life is going to change very soon. There's so much happening out there. What can you leave us with today?
I think it's still don't sweat the small stuff, and actually just find those ways that streamline your life, because so much of what we actually think is important is not important. And when you have someone with a disability in your life, that becomes even more important, is that if you can streamline and find those cheats and those time-saving, whatever it might be, but find those time-saving things to grab some more time back in your life for yourself. And I would say reach out to Carers Gateway. Am I allowed to give the phone number?
That was my final question. How do people get in touch?
Absolutely. So if you want to call Carers Gateway, it is 1800 422 737. And if you can also go to the Carers WA website, and carers can register there as well. The website's amazing. So Carers WA, as you would normally find, and it's an amazing website. If you have a little explore through it, it's got so many things that will probably inspire you to register.
Love it.
And you can see all the services and supports and all the things that are going on, the news and events, and because we organise lots of positive stuff for our carers as well.
Amazing. Well, like I said right at the top, you're doing incredible work. The team at Carers WA are doing incredible work. And likewise, there are some amazing carers out there that shouldn't be afraid to put up their hand, ask for some help, ask for some support, because they're doing an incredible job caring for people. Yeah,
absolutely. They, I don't know if many people realise, but if we all had a team, all the carers decided to have a Teams meeting tonight and quit, the government would need to find about $77.3 billion to replace the care that people provide in our communities. So it's worthwhile investing back in our carers, and I want our carers never to feel like they don't deserve to reach out.
Totally agree. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're very busy, and it's been fantastic to chat with you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Perfect. Thank you.